Alright, let's go follow up on these clues and go find out where our dad's gone. So far, it's led us here, back to Rivet City. Actually, before I go talk to...
Hey.
Oh, who's this?
Morning.
Stay away from me. What do you want? Are you one of them? I suppose it doesn't matter if I tell you. I used to be a slave. I saw a slaver on this ship. His name is Sister. I'm afraid he's after me. No! Please don't tell Sister. I think he's a slaver. I don't want to be taken by him. Thank you. I'll go to Flak and Shrapnel's just before closing. I don't have anything to give you, but I think I can trust you with a secret. If you ever go up north, there is a secret slave hideout called Temple of the Union. You might find them useful.
What I like about that is that will actually send you towards Canterbury Commons and all that if you haven't been there. So lots of references made to different places in the Wasteland in case you haven't gone that way yet.
I really hope you're not thinking of breaking into there. Decided to check out the shop, eh? If you want any of this shit, just holler.
Thought I would see if my new discount from Maura Brown
Killing, eh?
for finding the local history or whatever it is we did.
This is where to get it.
Anyway, just stocking up on ammo as I go. I may make a trip to the pit to go use the ammo press and come back. I have a feeling that ammo's going to get kind of, well, there's going to be a shortage of it. Regardless of the amount of stuff that I trade into that dude. Now, when I start getting lots of plasma rifles and maybe Tesla armor and stuff, it's possible I can
Was there something else?
stock up.
You know what you need to do.
Yeah, I already did it, actually. Okay, well, I guess that just didn't update. That's fine. I got my rewards from helping out old, what's-his-face? Getting his plasma rifle and stuff. Also got the upgrade from Dr. Zimmer before we took him and Armitage head off. Apparently she wasn't notified. Well, that's fine. I did my job. I wonder if there's any clues as to this Sister dude. Sister, a slaver with a insecurity complex about his name. It's kind of funny, actually. Seeing as I have the key, maybe they've got some stuff in here. I think it's considered a crime for me to loot through their stuff, even though I was allowed to kill him, but I can't loot through his stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah, see? Whatever. I really hope they have a place, or several places like this. Really, really unique little communities. Of course, with all little side quests and stuff. Yeah, I think that's Sister right there. I'm not even gonna mess with him. See if I can't get a speech check or two.
Back, ma'am. You haven't heard? Angela has the hots for Diego. But since he's a priest, he's been putting her off. One of these days, she's just going to jump his bones. Why should I tell you? You'll just tell everyone else. Farewell.
Actually, I believe if you pass the speech checks with her, it leads you to other little side quests around here. Like Diego's, I don't know, they got some little church going on here. I forget exactly what they follow, but anyway. It'll lead you there, and then I think there's a guy who's thinking about killing himself or something. And then, of course, you know, there's the Cantelli guy, the drug addict here, who him and his wife own the chem shop, of course. So this is not the way I meant to go. I'm trying to find the science lab. We need to go talk to Dr. Lee. Anyway, you can get those quests just running around talking to people. Also, I don't even know if they count on the quest log. I think they're just things you can do while you're around here. Not sure. Not sure if they actually pop up on your Pip-Boy, on your quest menu.
Morning.
No problems to report, I assume?
Good to see you.
And there she is.
What do you want? Look, this is a restricted area. I'm tired of telling you people. It's you. My heavens, you look so much like him. You're James's daughter, aren't you? What are you doing here? You were too young to remember, and I suppose James never spoke with me. Typical. I'm Dr. Madison Lee. I worked with your parents many years ago. Now I run the science lab here in Rivet City. It was all I had left. When your mother died, your father decided to leave with you. He abandoned our work. We had no choice but to do the same. That man doesn't have you looking for his pet android, does he? I've already told him to lay off it. He's distracting my entire team. I suppose so. I worked with them for several years until your mother died, and your father decided it was time to leave. What else do you want to know? James? He was very driven, determined to change the world. Well, we all were back then, I suppose. He was focused on two things, really. Making Project Purity work, and your mother. When she died, I think he gave up. I know he wanted to keep you safe, but I think part of what he did was run away. But it seems that he never really was able to get over the idea. I'm frankly shocked that he waited all this time and wants to try again. Yes, your mother was... well, she was a good woman. A very dedicated scientist. Your father loved her very much. It was a shame that she died. She had been excited to meet you. Complications from childbirth. None of us were expecting it. We weren't as prepared as we could have been. You have to understand, we were struggling with scavenged, derelict equipment. We did everything we could. As I said, I am sorry. I'm afraid I can't go back and change the past. Okay. What? Well, I'm not sure what there is to tell. Your father and I, we worked together for a long time. I think we were really on to something. But then there were complications. The project was abandoned and your father disappeared. I returned here to Rivet City and established the lab you see before you now. Project Purity, we called it. What do you want to know? It was simple, really. Fresh, clean water for everyone. Such a simple idea, and yet so impossible to realize. The plan was to build a facility that could purify all the water in the tidal basin at once. No radiation, no muck, just clear water. It just turned out to be more difficult than we anticipated. We had the basic principles down, we understood most of the science behind it, but the radiation in the area is so pervasive. Small-scale tests were fine, but anytime we tried to test the process on a larger scale, it was just... too much. Maybe if we'd had more time, or better equipment. You happened. It wasn't just you. We had more problems than we could handle already, but your birth is what finally pushed it over the edge. Your father decided that you were more important than everything we'd been working for, and he left. He left all of us. Once he was gone, the Brotherhood decided we weren't worth their time anymore. Without their protection, we had to abandon the purifier. Okay. What do you want to know? Okay. This is the Rivet City Science Lab. It's taken many long years to put together, but we've done well for ourselves. Our work on portable fusion power and hydroponics are coming along quite nicely, if not quite according to schedule. Rivet City is one of the few bastions of civilization left in the land. We're working to rebuild our society, to make the world livable again. You mean you haven't? I assumed he sent you here. For that matter, aren't you supposed to be in a vault? James said he left you there. Your father is no longer here, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't use that tone with me.
Tough choice. Really want to slap the bitch at this particular moment.
Your father insisted that we return to work on Project Purity. I tried telling him too much time has passed. There's no way it would work. Predictably, he refused to listen to me. He says he can prove it will work and headed off to the old lab. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you. It's in the old Jefferson Memorial building, northwest of here. Please, don't go after him. It was foolish of him to even think about going there alone. Look, I don't want to be harsh, but I have problems of my own. I don't have the resources to support James's foolish endeavors, or you're chasing after him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I am not in a position to help you. You understand, I have enough to worry about already. Good luck finding your father.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know passing that speech check, you get a couple stim packs. Well, in New Vegas, that's some shit you can make with some plants in the ground, okay? So, just saying. You know, what, a scrap syringe, and I don't know, like, what is a soda and a couple roots and a syringe or something? Yeah, y'all couldn't come up with that. Y'all can purify radiation-free potatoes and shit, but you can't come up with a stim pack or two, huh? Okay.
This is a medical clinic.
Anyway, as far as the history goes, I get what she was saying, but as far as the whole personal thing goes, I'm not really buying it. I get the impression from talking to her, just a basic overview, is that either she had feelings for Dad, or they had something going on the side, and Dad took the route of taking care of Mom, because, of course, she was having a baby, which would be our character, right? Her not being prepared for childbirth as she could have been, that little admission right there, okay, it's not like 9 months of pregnancy is just kind of spur of the moment. That's a while to put some stuff together, to put some safeguards in place to make sure a child is born safely. You know, I think just kind of letting Mom go, I don't, maybe she's got a little guilt for that. I'm not going to say she straight out killed Mom. I don't know. That wouldn't be something that I could judge, but it's a little fishy there. Anyway, I'd always gotten the impression that maybe Madison Lee and Dad had something going, or at least Madison Lee had feelings for Dad and was a little bitter with Mom because of that.
Good to see you.
Though she reluctantly wants to admit that Mom was just a good woman, you know, and an amazing scientist, was probably a little envy there, a little professional jealousy going on there too. Probably several things factored in. Looks like Madison Lee maybe wanted Mom's husband, wanted Mom's smarts, wanted Mom's career, wanted a few of Mom's things, and when opportunity came for Mom to conveniently pass away in childbirth, Madison Lee didn't go over the top trying to prevent that from happening. That's kind of the gist of it. I don't know. I don't know that any of that's the case, and like Madison Lee said, she can't go back and change the past anyway. Now she just seems like an embitterly woman, already aged past her years, you know, seen a little bit too much life. Yeah, I don't know. Just it's a little too much psychological profile to get from a few lines of dialogue, I guess. But anyway, it's all we really have to go with, you know, what we see and hear in the game, and then just kind of put the pieces together and get an idea of who the characters are and what they're about. So that's my impression of Dr. Lee. You know, she's kind of a hard ass, but she's not just completely rotten, you know, as far as that goes. All right, so Dad headed here alone. Now, later on in the game, actually, a little foresight helps right here. We're going to have to clear out this whole place anyway, so why don't we just go ahead and do that now? Go ahead and get rid of all the enemies that are in here. Try to scour the place from top to bottom, save us a little time later on. I see the red tick marks. Take that. I need to get some more sniper rounds. I may go back to the pit and, I think what I'm going to do is wait a few days. I'll do this off camera if I do this. Wait a few days, cycle through Lucky Harith a few times with whatever money I've got, and grab as much just trash ammo as I can get. All the 32 and 10mm and 308 rounds that he's got, of course I'd keep those. I've got a bunch of 44 Magnum rounds, and I was kind of saving those for Clover, because she runs through that. She treats a 44 Magnum like a SMG. I mean, all you hear is pop, 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 reload, pop, 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 pop. She's aggressive, which makes her even cooler in my book. But yeah, she runs through ammo real fast, and so between 308 and 44 and 5.56 ammo, it's just run through that like water. I don't know. Also, and this kind of takes me out of the immersion of the game a little bit. There's also a spawn spot across the street from the Arlington Library where you turn in books, and what'll happen is every few days a vertibird will drop off some Enclave soldiers, and you can essentially farm them. Yeah, each one's going to be wearing at least some version of Enclave power armor, and they should all be carrying some kind of energy weapon, plasma rifles, laser rifles, something like that. And as long as it's not tri-beams, that dude at the Outcast outpost will trade, sometimes 10 or 20 dozen rounds for each piece of gear. He likes plasma rifles. He loves Tesla armor. I think he gave 244 rounds for that, if I remember. Or maybe it was 448, or I don't remember. It was a lot. There was a lot of rounds just for one piece of gear. But they're heavy. They're like 40-something pounds, so you can only take them a couple. Plasma rifles are really kind of the way to go. He gives quite a few rounds for each plasma rifle, or laser rifle, or whatever. Laser pistol, even. Doesn't give too many for that. Scrap metal, of course, and sensor modules he'll give for all that, too. And I've been trading those in as I go, but yeah, you can farm those Enclave soldiers for gear for yourself if you like wearing that type of stuff. Tesla armor was one of my favorites at one time, because especially at nighttime, you'd see the little charges going back and forth between little nodes on the armor. It looked cool. It looked really cool. And the helmet was really cool, too. But anyway, I could do that. I could do that for a bunch of ammo. Either way, it's gonna take some time. The pit, I don't really like loading in and out of that place. Game tends to want to freeze and stuff like that, but well, whatever. Or I may just kind of roll with what I've got. If I run out of ammo, well, I just run out of ammo. I mean, shit like that would happen, I would think, in the wastes, you know? Actually, when we really start messing with the Enclave, there'll be stuff to be had. Like I say, just the Enclave you run into, I'll pick up energy weapons, and that's fair game to go take to the outpost. I don't actually have to farm for it. Yeah, I may leave the pit ammo press alone, too, on second thought. Steadily going back and forth. It's there, though. It's there. If I wind up with something like 5,000 5mm rounds or something, which I don't know, odds are pretty slim, because sometimes if I'm running into a bunch of those rounds, I'm probably running into a minigun. And it's fun to pull one of those out and just spray and pray every once in a while. It's just fun. Just like the mini nukes, you know. Pull out a Fat Man and throw a nuke around every once in a while. Come on, man. It's Fallout. Gotta do that at least sometimes. These guys are giving me a little bit, but when it costs anywhere from 50 to 400 or 500 rounds just to take out a super mutant, some of those overlords, oh, you might run through 8, 10, 12 clips, you know. And if that's the case, these little, 10 or 12 rounds here and there that I'm picking up, they don't make up for it. 308 rounds, though. I really need to catch Lucky Harith one of those moments when he's got, like, I don't know, 100 of them in stock, you know? It's all random. Each time you see him, he could have whatever. Also notice, at least up to this point, since we did all the investing and stuff, he hasn't had the normal, like, you know, 1,500 to 3,000 caps type thing. He's been, like, under 1,000, which isn't that big of a deal right now. Maybe get a few levels higher. Maybe that'll scale up a little bit. I guess that's possible. I just remember him having more caps in general available to spend. Not that that's been much of an issue up to this point, because I haven't had a whole lot to sell him. I've been more buying stuff. Alright, so what I want to do is make sure this area right here is clear. So we'll walk around, make sure there's not a super mutant just hiding off in a corner somewhere. Speaking of free ammo, give me all that. Plunger in a safe. You know, one thing I've never seen, but I heard some of my friends talking about, at least I don't remember ever running into it. I think I would remember something like this, is some bathroom full of plungers somewhere. I imagine it's down in the subways or something like that. But anyway, it's supposed to be plungers stuck to the ceiling, stuck all to the floor, to the walls. Not sure the significance or the reference there. It just sounds funny. Just one of those things, like, what the hell is going on here? Just why, you know? And lots of that type of stuff in this game. I don't think I've ever run into that one particular spot, though. Alright, so we should have a basement full of super mutants. And like I said, we're going to have to clear this out later anyway. So I might as well do it while I'm here now. And that might save us a step later on. Save us a few extra minutes. We're going to have to do quite a bit of running around in this building here on a later quest, and that at least would cut down some of the time it'll take. Alright, well, I think the only way up here to where I'm at is basically through that hallway right there. And we should have some down below us. I don't know exactly how many mutants are down here. I know it's at least half a dozen or so. Maybe more. A lot of those gore bags have some decent stuff in it. That brings to mind the Germantown police station? I think it's called Germantown. Georgetown? Germantown. Is that right? Yeah, where you go to rescue some of the big town hostages. Yeah, just the sheer number of rounds it takes is ridiculous. I think I'm gonna, at some point, switch to an infiltrator just for a little while. It's a lot less accurate, but it fires faster. A little more fun to play with. Of course, with ammo being a concern, that's really gonna start running through it, but whatever. Doesn't matter, it's all about fun anyway. Now, I was thinking, at the very beginning of the game, when it shows you being born, I was thinking you were born maybe in this building right here somewhere. I don't think it's this room. This doesn't look right. Not sure. I guess it could have been in the bay at Rivet City, but I don't think so. I think this was their base of operations here, before they kind of took over the science lab in Rivet City. At least that's basically what I understand happened, more or less. So I guess if you were born in this building, it would have to be that room right there. Although, I don't know, that didn't exactly look right. I don't know. Must be kind of interesting if you were born in the bow of the ship. There was that little medical area. No, if Pinkerton was in charge, Mom probably wouldn't have even died. Come to think of it. Never mind. Just one more thing to validate Pinkerton's opinion of Dr. Lee. I don't think Pinkerton would have let it go down like that, to tell you the truth. He might have, but I don't think so. I don't think that's it. I think there's more down here. Alright, now that should be the room where Dad's got all the holotapes and all that stuff. We'll get back to that in a minute. Like I said, I just want to make sure everything's clear. Once every enemy's out of here, they won't ever respawn. Alright, so the tidal basin essentially flows through here. Or at least they made it where it flows through here. When you're first walking in, you see those pipes leading down into the river. I guess to help circulate it. I don't know if those are outflow or inflow pipes, but whatever. Go home and get rid of my nasty addiction again. Yeah! Alright, those intercoms will come in handy later also. Alright, now I think that's it. Pretty sure. Do one last little look around. We find some useful stuff too. When we get into Dad's little hidey room. Learn one or two things about Dad. I mean, he's just human. Just your average dude. He might have a slight drinking problem. Just a little bit. Maybe having to do with some of the bad decisions leading up to our death. At least one good decision was to take us to Vault 101. Hindsight seemed the best thing overall. Give us some safe place to grow up. Safer than out here. This place is a mess. Wasteland is just no joke. It should be holotapes laying all over the place in here. Better days. Wow. Okay, that one's...
That batch of tests was inconclusive, but Madison and I are convinced it's a problem with the secondary filtration system. We're going to recalibrate the equipment and try again tomorrow, so that... James, please. I'm trying to work. Now's not the time. So that's the next step. Assuming we get the results we need, we'll move on to... James! Stop! I need to finish these notes. We'll move on to diagnosing the issues with the radiation dampeners. That should... Ow! James! Now? We really shouldn't.
Well, I guess that's where we came from, right? I think that's the only recorded voice of Mom in the game.
So, here I am, back where it all began. Project Purity. God, we wanted to change the world. We really thought the waters of life could be a reality. And that's why this is a momentous occasion. Because even after 19 years, I still believe it. Project Purity can and will be operational. This is just the beginning. This is day 2 of my attempt to resurrect this project. I've got one of the portable fusion generators up and running. but it's just enough to power the emergency lighting and a couple of other systems. That will serve for now, but I need help powering up the mainframe. Time to visit Madison at Rivet City. I spoke with Dr. Lee, Madison, at Rivet City. It went about as well as I expected. That is to say, she thinks I'm completely mad. How can I blame her? She's got her own life, her own team, and is making real, tangible scientific progress. Here I come again, the very paragon of failure and false promises. But the reality is, I need Madison and whatever scientific team she may have assembled. I can't do this myself. Project Purity is bigger than me. It always was. And without Catherine, God, I can't let this die. Not again. Not like this. Well, here we are again. Project Purity and me. It's been close to 20 years since my last entry. Since I left all of this behind to make a life for my daughter. We've spent that time in Vault 101, tucked away from the rest of the world. It wasn't perfect, but it was safe, and that's all I could have hoped for. Now my daughter is a grown woman. Beautiful, intelligent, confident. Just like her mother. And as hard as it was to admit it, she doesn't need her daddy anymore.
All right. It's hard for me not to think of Liam Neeson telling us that he has a certain set of skills and he will come find us and he will kill us. Because he has the same mindset with Project Purity. I will come find you and I will kill you. I will find a way to purify the water because I have a particular set of skills. Anyway, all right. Now, I had a theory, and I'll tell you why it was based on this. Is Dad makes a comment to you at the very beginning of the game when you're about to go take your goat test. He says he took that test too, right? And it's like, okay, so he must have grown up in a vault, right? Well, one of you guys so astutely brought up the fact that he's not wearing a Pip-Boy when you're born. Doesn't show him with a Pip-Boy on his wrist. I'm assuming that's something he got shortly after entering Vault 101. What could have given him the credentials to get into Vault 101 in the first place? How he might have known the Overseer or whatever, I don't know. Maybe some relationship with Vault Tech in and of itself. But I was thinking if Madison Lee, according to some rumor, came from the Boston area or came from the Institute, which we assume we'll see some stuff about in Boston, it's probably going to be a central point of Fallout 4, be my guess. I don't know. But, I mean, we know it exists. We know it's there. I mean, you got Dr. Zimmer and all that kind of stuff. If Lee came from there, what if our dad came from that area also and was part of the same team? And maybe they did have a goat in the Institute, but they were raised without a vault. Perhaps the Institute has its own version of something like a vault, not requiring things like Pip-Boys and stuff like that, having much higher technology to take care of all the day-to-day stuff. But perhaps they had something like a goat there also. You know, just some standardized occupational aptitude tests, you know. Anyway, just kind of just mulling over my thoughts there. But like I say, because of that one comment made me believe that he was possibly from Vault 101 and had left with one of the research teams, you know, got mom pregnant, and then when, you know, came time to have the kid, you know, scurried back to Vault 101 after mom died type of thing. It's reasonable, but him not having a Pip-Boy on would say, okay, well, that's not the case. So unless the Pip-Boy was a very recent thing in Vault 101, right, which I don't think it was. I think every resident has always gotten a Pip-Boy at a certain age, right? 16 or whatever it is, or no, 10. Yeah, when you're 10. Okay, so when you're 10 years old, everyone gets one and always gotten one. If that's the case, then no, Dad didn't come from a vault. Where did he come from? And unless he was just straight up lying to you about having taken the goat himself, then if he had taken one at some point, where did he? And like I say, is that something that comes standardized from technology headquarters, being like the Institute? Just thinking.
Soon after we arrived, my nightly routine included sneaking into the restricted areas, searching for, I don't know, whatever I could find. It was a Voltec facility after all. The place was built with some of the most advanced technology this country had ever developed. Those excursions never turned up anything particularly useful. So, one night, after Braun's work, of course. He was a celebrity in his day, Voltec's sorcerer scientist, leaving his peers in awe of his technological wizardry. But it was in Vault 101 that night in the Overseer's office I first learned of Braun's involvement in Voltec's social preservation program and his work on something called GEC, the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. To be honest, the GEC sounded like pure fantasy, even for someone of Braun's capabilities. It was nothing short of a miracle. A terraforming module capable of producing life from complete lifelessness. But not only was this thing a reality, it was actually distributed to several vaults to be used after an atomic war. Vault 101 was, sadly, not on that list. I did some digging and discovered Braun's name on the reservation list for a Vault 112. And no slouch, but this man, he could have easily succeeded where I failed. Does his collected knowledge remain within the halls of Vault 112? Journals, holotapes, computer records, maybe even experiments. If I could gain access to just a fraction of Braun's genius, Project Purity would become a reality. I'm off to Vault 112 to search for anything of Braun's that might help me get this purifier up and running. All I know is that it's west of some place called Evergreen Mills, and it's well hidden in some sort of garage. But I'll find it. I have to. It's so close. That's the story of Project Purity, isn't it? An eternity of almost theirs. Let's see if Braun has the missing puzzle piece.
Alright, there we have it. Our last clue. Now we know where to go. And actually, I know exactly where to go. Let's, we can do a few other things on the way there. Just another stop in the wasteland. I want to bring up that one thing I saw, and so this is, I'm going to make something of a bold prediction here, is at the end of the presentation, the showcase, if you guys go watch it, it shows something that resembles a nuke going off, but it's not exactly a nuke. It may be a nuke, maybe a new kind of nuke, or whatever. The next nuke that the world's going to destroy itself with in the future. That could be possible. What I think it is, it's a GEC, and I think you get the option of whether to set one off or not. And it may be one of the, if not the key moral decisions in the game that you'll have to make. Kind of like, you know, setting off Megaton or not, and some other stuff that you do, working with the slavers or not, you know, and so on and so forth. Kidnapping the baby or not in the pit, you know, stuff like that. It could be something like that, but I think you get to set off a GEC. The story behind it, well, it leaves a lot of opening for story behind that. What would lead up to you setting off the GEC, and the upside and the downside to doing something like that? Would it kill everyone that's around and bring back things that were? Then you do have a past, present, history, future thing going on there with the GEC, or are the outcomes just kind of unknown? Is it just, it's still in the experimental type of thing? Nobody really knows what would happen, so on and so forth. Stuff like that. Anyway, that's just my little prediction. I think that's either going to be a part, if not a key part, of Fallout 4. Is setting off a GEC and everything that surrounds what may happen as a result of that. Just a thought. It shows it going off in the middle of the city, so I'm assuming that's probably a pretty big deal. You know what I'm saying? All right. Well, that's it. All right, so we'll start following up all these clues that we just found and see if we can't go find Dad. All right. Thanks for watching. You want to subscribe, click that button up top. For the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, click that image in the middle, and I will catch you guys later. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.